French but shalom, and greetings to you all. Now, I know it seems like things are happening at breakneck speed these days, and they are. We're in the fall, the harvest time, and we know that the non-Jewish Purim, otherwise known as Halloween, is coming. Now, a lot of people love Halloween. They like dressing as other aspects of self. I personally love the chocolate aspect of it. It's like Valentine's Day. It's a day to shovel in as much garbage as possible. And because the days are getting shorter, we love the chance to celebrate in order to bring more light into our lives. So come celebrate, my friends, as we gather every week, come together as a community, a like-minded, like-souled unification of spirit, the collective consciousness of seekers coming together in a showing of faith, of love, a community, a chavura, a fellowship, expressing our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all. In this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, house of spirit. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, psychically, emotionally, or spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Mitov. Come together. Hine Mitov. Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad. Hine Mitov. Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. It is a community, my friends and brothers and sisters. So as a community, let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the entire world. Now, every week we gather, and we show gratitude and give thanks for the things that we have. And we ritualize this. We light our candles, we share a cup of wine or juice, a piece of bread. And those represent the gifts of life and sustenance and fellowship that we observe daily, but especially we honor every week in our Sabbath remembrance and observation. Remember, friends, this is your setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your own personal sacred space to talk to whoever, whatever you happen to believe in. Now, it's a part of your kavanah, your intention, your goodwill to the universe. So let's send some of that goodwill out to the universe now. Let's invoke healing and renewal for everybody you know that needs some healing and renewal, and love, or maybe just some goodwill. Focus on them, call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's the healing of the earth, the tikkun olam. That's part of our spiritual genetic, the healing of the world. Let's take a few minutes to think of and pray for those in need of health and renewal. For our great friend Bob, and of course for Rudy, for Veronica, for Americo and Carlos, and as always for the bee, a beautiful soul who radiates warmth and care and kindness, and who truly has a special connection to messages. Friends, it is the kindness, healing wishes, goodwill, and love that we all send out that circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Me, Shabbat, Avotenu, Makor HaBracha, Limodenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed, my friends. Now, this is the great prayer for healing that's said all the time, which we call upon God to heal as he has healed before. Misha Baruch, may he who blessed, because healing is a blessing. So let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow, to unite together, all of us. See, my friends, it's not we alone. We're connected. All things pour forth their souls. The heavens, the earth, every creature, every living thing. We all have a relationship with God. And so we all have a relationship with each other. Now, in a short few weeks, we've come a very long way in the Bible. We've completed the cosmic Bible completely. We've had God's first covenant with man. Now we're at the beginning of the story of a family. Really, the family story of the Bible. And we will also find out about the second covenant with man this week as we read, Lech lecha, go, you go. Now, in biblical Hebrew, the double word is used as a means of emphasis. And you will see it often. You'll also see it when we get to Joseph with the double dreams that emphasizes what's coming. Now, probably since you were a tiny baby, you've been indoctrinated with the belief that family is everything. And at many levels, it truly is. Blood is thicker than water. You have to honor the past, but you also make your own future. And while these things are generally true, you still gotta be greater than your haters. And you will encounter haters in life, and sometimes they're within the family. Well, we're about to embark on the ultimate journey of family. Genesis 12:1. And the Lord said to Abraham, and it's not Abraham yet, it's Abraham, go from your land and from your birthplace and from your father's house to the land that I'll show you. Now, many view this as our second story of faith, the first being Noah. But one that's often presented as a story of trial, or even a series of trials. The hero undergoing that series of tests, like Hercules or Gilgamesh or Odysseus. We hear Abraham underwent 10 tests. Maybe. But this is our introduction to the father of a monotheistic practice, the father of the three great Western traditions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Now, we can actually spend an incredible amount of time discussing and arguing all kinds of things, like where Abraham was from. Was it Ur? Was it Haran? Or somewhere else altogether? Egypt, perhaps. Genesis 12:4. And Abram went as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he went out from Haran. All my bags are packed. I'm ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, but the dawn is breaking, it's early morn. Taxi's waiting, he's blowing his horn. Already, I'm so lonesome, I could die. Well, Abraham's leaving. Well, maybe not on a jet plane, but he's moving on. And what do we learn from this? Well, he's old, 75 years old. He's taking Lot with him, and he's leaving from Haran. Even though later on we're going to be told he comes from Ur. Now later, Abraham in Genesis 24:4 sends his servant to get a wife for Isaac, saying, go to my land and my birthplace. And where does the servant go? He goes to Haran. As I said, we could discuss this forever. We could spend the time, but why should we? Where is not quite as important as what. Suffice it to say, this passage is one of a few instances in which the combination of conflicts has produced an irreconcilable contradiction. And it will happen again throughout the Bible. It's just the nature of it. Well, where is Abraham to go? To the land that I'll show you. That is, he must leave his homeland without knowing for what he's giving it up for. And he ends up going on a journey to an awful lot of places. Well, I've been everywhere, man, I've been everywhere. Across the desert bare, man, I breathe the mountain air. Man, of travel I've had my share, man, well, I've been everywhere. And friends, this pattern of testing that we see here is going to be repeated with him in his whole lifetime when he's commanded to sacrifice Isaac. Take your son, your only one whom you love, Isaac. Where's he to sacrifice him? On one of the mountains that I'll say to you. So we're going to see this happen again and again. Now, what's interesting is that these are actually not tests of faith. The tests that Abraham undergoes are not so much tests of faith as purely tests of obedience. He is ordered, and he does. Now, after all Abraham goes through, he's going to get something other than a name change, because he's going to get his name changed to Abraham. Genesis 12:3. And I'll bless those who bless you, and those who affront you I'll curse. And all the families of the earth will be blessed through you. Well, to make sure we don't forget it, that he is going to be blessed, it's repeated 4 times, and always in crucial moments of revelation. During the appearance of the 3 visitors to Abraham, coming up in Genesis 18:17 next week, in the blessing following the near sacrifice of Isaac. That's about Genesis 22:16. In God's first appearance to Isaac, later in Genesis 26:2, and in Jacob's first encounter with God in the dream of the ladder at Bethel in Genesis 28:10. And this statement will be repeated later again by the great seer Balaam in one of my personal favorite parshas towards the end of the Bible. Now, God makes a special bond with Abraham's family and lets him know that this is for the eventual benefit of all families. Now, this is the confusing part. We get that those who bless Abraham will be blessed and those who curse him will be cursed. That's stated pretty straightforward. But that all the families of the earth will be blessed, that is something that we've never fully understood. There is great stuff written about it, but we do not know how. How is this going to take place? We don't even know when this is going to take place. You know, people fixate on his age, his birthplace, his journey locations. You know, and when we focus on those things, we miss so much. You know, like thinking about, this blessing business. Well, you know what? We're probably all missing a lot of things in our lives by thinking about the wrong things. Have you ever thought about what you're missing? Well, many miss life. This is a fascinating man. He is considered by scholars to be the first Jew, although we have no idea what religion he actually practiced. He may be more considered the first monotheist than the first Jew. And if you want to know where his life really was formed, it was during these journeys of his. Genesis 12:10. There was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to reside there because the famine was heavy in the land. Well, that sounds an awful lot like the story of Jacob, doesn't it? And he says to his wife, "Here, I know that you're a beautiful woman. She's old," and he wants her to pretend that she's not married to him. And he concocts this lie, and it's a rather large lie, one for which there is actually no evidence in the Bible that the Egyptians or anyone else ever did what Abraham fears they would do. And this too has been perplexing to scholars. There are so many little things that we can actually focus on and try and understand. The whole Egyptian part of his life is really an interesting one. And during it, we get yet another foreshadowing in Genesis 15:13. And God said to Abram, "You shall know that your seed will be an alien in a land that's not theirs, and they will serve them and they will degrade them 400 years. Well, we know what that's talking about. So when all said and done, he leaves Egypt, and he leaves extremely wealthy, and he moves on to Canaan. Genesis 16:3. And Sarai, Abraham's wife, took Hagar the Egyptian, her maid, at the end of 10 years of Abraham's living in the land of Canaan, and gave her to Abram, her husband, as a wife to him. As a wife. A little later, we find out she's going to be a mother. Hagar. And he came to Hagar, and she became pregnant. And she saw, the she being Sarai, that she had become pregnant, and her mistress was lowered in her eyes. Well, we know the story of Hagar and how Sarah drives her away. Genesis 16:6. And Sarai degraded her, and she fled. Now, Sarai's treatment of the Egyptian Hagar foreshadows Israel's experience in Egypt. We have all this foreshadowing taking place with Abraham and his family. These exact words will recur. Egypt degraded them, and they fled. And like Israel, Hagar fled to the wilderness. And while there, the angel of the Lord said to her, "Here you're pregnant, and will give birth to a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael, for God has listened to your suffering." Well, here, again, what you'll notice is Ishmael is named, and then Isaac is going to be named. So the parents don't get a chance to name the kids. Well, she goes back, but she's finally driven away again after Sarah gives birth to Isaac, because Sarah does not want Ishmael to inherit. And now when Hagar leaves, she begs for her son to die, but an angel again intercedes, and God promises greatness for her son. We read this story every year during the High Holy Days. The birth of Ishmael, and an unspoken, unreviewed start to the great pariah of society, sibling rivalry. A disease that began with the first brothers, Cain and Abel, but became a destroyer of lives with the tales of the patriarchs. Here, then with Jacob and Esau, and then with Jacob's sons, Joseph and his brothers. Now sometimes We put all our energy into a child and they go in a different direction. Sometimes siblings do not get along. It's just one of those things. And, it's not just the ones I mentioned. Look at how Leah and Rachel treated each other. You don't read a lot about that, but that wasn't very good. I love studies, and there was a study that determined that on average, siblings argue every 6.5 minutes. Who does these studies? Better yet, who pays for them? And how are we a better society from having researched this? Ultimately, our children are responsible for their own choices. We're often the cause of why siblings do not get along. We make them compete for affection, attention, reward. Sometimes we run gladiator schools without realizing it. Are we giving our love equally? We have to look at ourselves when sibling rivalry arises. There's so much to learn from this life of Abraham and who he listened to and why. Just as last week, we saw the first of God's covenants with man. This week we get the second covenant, Genesis 17:7. This is my covenant that you shall observe between me and you and your seed after you. Every male is to be circumcised among you, and you shall be circumcised at the flesh of your foreskin, and it will become a sign of a covenant between me and you. God tells him that Sarah will have a child, and what his name is to be. It's to be Isaac. Now, talk about obedience. Now, he was 86 when Ishmael was born, and he'll be 99 for Isaac's birth. Yes, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them, my friends. Live free. Be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, and be blessed. Share and honor the light, and live in light, and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, we are a community, my friends. We learn together. We celebrate each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive. Learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey, because we take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now, bless you all. Have a fantastic week. A week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our kavana, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what is good and bad, so acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged, and ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, with accountability, with vulnerability. Now, forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and be compassionate. The secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace, my friends, is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So do not stop your journey. Don't stop moving towards your own promised land. It's there waiting for you. It's your home. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. And remember to have faith, an unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and all of you. Now, please act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all, honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace in this year, and may you nurture kindness and love everywhere you go, and work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of all of your real power lies in your consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances, to make the most of your time in life. Touch and transform the lives around you, because you're never alone. You're forever blessed and have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet. Health, love, renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Friends, your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. Be generous with them. Bless others, and then bless yourself. And love with your heart, because we are all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. And be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief in your own life, and do not accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other. We are each of us trying to find love, acceptance, and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them and tell them what they mean. And remember, you're never alone on your journey to your promised land. Watch your words. They can hurt you, they can heal you, they can imprison you, and they can free you. But keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. And remember, we are all one. And stop fighting with your siblings. The reason for it, when all is said and done, is probably stupid. Oh, Daniel, my brother, you are older than me. Do you still feel the pain of the scars that won't heal? Your eyes have died, but you see more than I. Daniel, you're a star in the face of the sky. Call your brother. Blessings to you all. See you all next week. Shabbat Shalom. Have a fantastic time. And I look forward to getting together again. Take care. Bye.